I've been using Motion Array for almost 5 years and I just discovered something that made me question everything I thought I knew about the service. Today I'm going to show you actually what this licensing platform is really like in 2025 and whether it is still a hidden gem or not. Now, quick disclaimer, they reached out and asked whether I wanted to review their service, but they are confident enough in their own product and they just told me to give you my completely honest opinion, and they don't really care whether it is positive or negative. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think, and by the end you'll know whether this is worth it or not. So the first question is, who is this for? Asset licensing platforms like Motion Array are built for video editors and content creators alike. So if you're uploading social media videos for yourself, or you are a freelancer creating videos for clients, then you might be one of their potential customers. Next question is, how does it work? Motion Array is an all-you-can-eat platform. That means you pay a monthly or yearly subscription and in return you get access to unlimited downloads of like everything. I believe they have more than 2 million assets available, and I'll explain what type later on in the video, but you basically have access to every tool a video editor needs to fill gaps in like any project. The next question is whether it is limited only to specific software. So there are universal assets that work with any software, and there are specific templates that can integrate specifically with the major editing software you are probably already using, so apps like DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, After Effects and Final Cut Pro. And they also have direct plugins for those, but I will explain in greater detail later in the video, okay? So first, let's have a look at how the website works. The platform is categorized into categories that make finding what you need pretty intuitive, and I'll break down each section, okay? The first category is called video templates, and those are project files for your editing software. The way it usually works, you filter for your editing software of choice, let's say Premiere Pro, and select one of the templates and then simply download the file. Once I got that on my hard drive, then I can swap in my own footage, customize the whole thing for my own video. Easy. The next category are motion graphics, and these are a little bit more flexible than templates because they are not locked into like one specific software. They're basically universal files that work in any editor. So usually stuff like animated text and other graphic elements. And basically you gotta install them once and then you can use them in whatever project you are working on later, okay? Next are LUTs, and those are like color presets that instantly change the look and feel of your footage. It is kind of like an Instagram filter but for video, and instead of spending hours like fine-tuning, color grading and so on, you can simply apply a LUT and boom, you get that look immediately. Footage means stock video, and the way it works, like professional videographers record those and upload them onto the platform, which is pretty useful. So for example, if you don't have a drone, you can complement your own video with generic drone footage, for instance. Or you just need a shot of a specific thing or model or whatever, and you don't have the budget to shoot it yourself, you can just download it there. So let me show you an example of how I like to complement my own scenes with stuff that I find on Motion Array. So check out this sequence right here that I shot in a desert. It looked pretty decent, but I wasn't allowed to fly my own drone, so the whole thing was kind of missing something. But no problem, I simply went to the Motion Array platform and searched for the keywords desert and drone, and I found a couple of aerial clips that blended in really nicely, and that made the entire scene a lot more interesting. The resolution ranges from 1080p to 4K, which is cool, and please note that most of the footage you can download here is already color graded and not available in RAW and log format, okay? Next is the music library. So if you upload stuff on the internet, you can't just use a song by a famous artist, okay? You need a license for the music you use, and Motion Array gives you royalty-free tracks that you can actually use without getting copyright strikes on YouTube, for example. And this used to be very expensive in the past, but here it is just a part of your plan and you can just download as many songs as you like, basically. Related to this are sound effects, and professional sound design makes a pretty big difference for your video quality, but recording custom sound effects is a little bit tedious at times. I use it all of the time as it is very helpful if my own mic didn't pick up sound outdoors, and it is just way easier than trying to record sound effects yourself, honestly. Next category are graphics, and these are Photoshop templates, and they are pretty convenient if you want to make, say, a YouTube thumbnail that looks like a movie poster or something like that. So check this out. I simply type in retro movie and I get those nicely designed templates, and I can add my own photo, and with just a couple of clicks like reuse them for my own YouTube videos, which is awesome. Okay, and lastly, photos. I don't consider it a core product, but it is a very useful addition because you want to populate like background graphics every once in a while for your videos, and that means you don't need extra access to a image licensing platform, which is cool. Next, let's talk about what is new in 2025 and 26, and there are a couple of features that stand out to me. AI voiceover is one, and that is super convenient because it means I basically don't need to hire a voice actor anymore. So I can simply type in my script, pick a voice style, and then I can select the type of tone that I want. If I wanted to make a video about, let's say, climate change, and I want the narrator to sound like, let's say, David Attenborough, no problem, I can do all of that in like 2 minutes. First, I have to copy paste the script, then I select whether I want a male or female voice, then I filter for the voices that are suited for documentaries, and then I simply have to hit generate, and after a minute or so I receive a professional sounding narration, which is very, very cool. So let's replay the entire example.
We are facing a man-made disaster of global scale, our greatest threat in thousands of years, if we don't take action. The collapse of our civilizations and the extinction of much of the natural world is on the horizon.
The AI voices are surprisingly natural, and I can even adjust the pacing and emphasis and so on. And I think this is pretty useful for stuff like explainer videos, tutorials, or even like documentaries. Next, let's talk about plugins. So they added a plugin feature that works directly in your editing software. So instead of going to their website, you browse and download assets right from within Premiere Pro or Resolve, and it is called Motionary Hub. So you just gotta download it from their website, and then it becomes a feature in your software basically, which is very cool and convenient because I don't have to go to the website to download everything, drag it into a folder. Instead, I have it right within Premiere, which is cool. Next, let's talk about the most interesting thing, like how much does the entire thing cost? And their pricing structure is pretty straightforward. There are a few tiers. The basic plan starts at $16 for templates. Compared to buying individual assets or hiring designers, I think it is quite reasonable when you break down the cost per asset. If you're interested only in the AI voiceover feature, then it is $10.99, and that is actually cheaper than comparable services. And if you want everything, that means music, voiceovers, LUTs, and all of the features I have just described, it costs less than $25. Overall, I think all of this is extremely reasonable and good value for money. I only have one point of criticism. I usually work with log or raw footage, so super high-end footage, so I can customize the colors in my own videos. So I wish they had this as an extra pricing tier for higher-end ungraded footage, but it's not really a deal breaker. I reckon it's just me and doesn't affect most other users. The thing I mentioned at the beginning that nobody talks about in reviews, like even after 5 years of using the service and downloading a ton of assets, I realized I've been still massively underutilizing the platform. The crazy part is, even if you use just a fraction of what Motionary has to offer, it still saves you more money than doing everything manually. So I think it is not a hidden gem anymore like back in the days when I started using this platform, but overall I can still recommend it because it is super convenient. If this review helped your purchase decision, I left an affiliate link below, and that will give you 2 months for free if you sign up for the annual plan. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in one of the next videos.